Hi, one of the people that watch my videos talked about Retrobat. Now I want to show you something. Retrobat is much worse off to set up than LaunchBox is, and I'll show you why. Now, my girlfriend has Windows 7. Now, if you go to the Retrobat website, it will tell you it takes Windows 8.1 or higher to run Retrobat. Now, she has Windows 7. But I'm going to run through a couple things real quick. Now, you see all this stuff is showing up. I did already put some games on here. But I want you to see something. We're going to go ahead and enter. Now, I want you to watch something. You have to download the emulators. You can't just install Retrobat and get it to work. It doesn't work that way. With Retrobat, you actually have to download and install the emulators. This is it. This is what it does. Alright, now I have to hit I don't have to hit Control Alt Delete. I have Windows 7 over here. I'm just going to hit Windows. I'm going to open this up. And let me find my damn mouse. Right here. I'm going to close this window. It'll close this one right here. Then it goes back to here. Alright, I don't need that. I need to go back. Damn it, I did it again. Now, unlike LaunchBox where you hit ESC, Retrobat is a pain in the butt to get working, shut down, add emulators to. Let me find my mouse again. I'm going to close this. Now I'm just going to close this, Windows key again, and close that. Alright, so you have to download and install the emulators on Retrobat. There's another issue you're going to run into. Let me unplug this, and try to get this set up over here. Let's go over here to my laptop. I already have a flash drive with Retrobat on it. Now first I'm going to show you what you need to run this on Windows 7. So I'm going to minimize that. I already have a ROMs folder open there. Now you can see I have this minimized for a reason. That is for actually adding the games. I can full screen this. If you're going to try to run Retrobat on Windows 7, you need certain things. If not, here's what's going to happen. First of all, here is the minimum requirements for Retrobat. Windows 8.1, 64-bit, Windows 10, Windows 11. CPU with SSE2 support, 3 GHz and dual core. Not older than 2008 is highly recommended. If you want to use emulators such as Dolphin, PCSS2, PCS3, in other words, GameCube, PlayStation 2, and PlayStation 3, you need a modern graphics card that supports Direct3D 11.1, OpenGL 4.4, or Vulkan. You will also need, let me get that right here, VC++ redistributables, both 32 and 64-bit, and DirectX. Now the only problem you're going to run into with this, you can find places to download this. They will give you a link to download this, and it is a package. That's fine. But DirectX is going to be an issue for some people. Since Microsoft does not support Windows 7 anymore, you may have to search for DirectX 9 yourself. Now close that. Let's open this. Unless you have certain things, you will get this. Retrobat EXE system error. This program can't start because the API MS when eventing classic provider L1/1/0 DIL is missing from your computer. Try installing the program to fix this problem. Reinstalling Retrobat is not going to fix this problem. Windows 7 is missing this. You actually have to download it and install it yourself manually. Now I'm going to show you what it looks like. If you have Vulkan, you will need to download and install Vulkan. Now here is the runtimes you will need to get Retrobat installed and working. You will have to install all of these. This is from the Visual C runtimes all-in-one May of 2023. To install these, you go down to install all BAT and double click, and it will install every single one of these on your computer on your Windows 7. Now for the error. Now you can download this DIL file from www.dil/files. Well, actually it's a minus sign, whatever the hell. It's not a slash. It's a minus sign or space or whatever the hell you want to call that. Files.com. You can download this DIL file from there, but downloading the DIL file doesn't mean jack unless you know how to install it. Here's the DIL file, API MS, when everything, classic provider, blah blah blah. Okay, it will come in a zip file. You have to unzip it. It is right here. And there is the runtime zipped. You have to unzip them. Once you get your DIL file and install these, you have to install the Visual C runtime components. Then you install the DIL file, then you reboot. To install this, you copy and paste this. Copy, then go to your local disk, Windows, System, not System 32, not System Well, but System folder, and you paste it in here. Now you have to download the emulators. Now you can see I have NES ROMs open here. I'm going to kind of make that a little bit half size there by using that. Full size. You want it like this. Let's go into Retrobat. Once it's on your flash drive, and this takes forever. And the problem with Retrobat, even if you install your games on here, once you install your emulators, it may look for games elsewhere. You have to tell these emulators where to go to find your ROMs. Of course, BIOS goes up here on BIOS, cheese, blah, blah, blah. Now, we're going to go into ROMs. I'm going to go down to NES. I think I passed it. Yep, it's right in here somewhere. Right here, NES. Now, I already have some stuff in here, as you can see. You half size this. Now you have them side by side. To get your games onto Retrobat, all you do is copy and drag them over. Go here. Right here, let's put this one in there. And you can see it copied it from here, or you can copy and paste. Let's find something else. I'm not too much of an NES person, but you do this with all your games. Copy. Paste. And there it is. Alright. Before you try installing Retrobat, you have to have those other files installed. You must on Windows 7 or it will not work at all. You also have to be online to download the emulators. As you can see on this, Retrobat is installed. The emulators are not. So saying Retrobat is easier to use is 100% false. Let's go here. Now, as you can see, I do have Windows 7, of course. I've talked about my laptop before. Now, I could get Retrobat to work over there if I use this flash drive and install those files on her computer, which I'm not going to do. LaunchBox works fine on her computer without going through all this mess. Now I can put that back to full size. Now this is Windows 7. According to Retrobat, it cannot be used on anything below Windows 8.1. Now, understand, certain emulators will work, certain will not work. It depends on your hardware, depends on your graphics, it depends on a lot of things. If you have the right programs, it should work. Now, I don't recall how to get in and out of Retrobat too much. I've only messed with it a little bit. Of course, this will definitely not work on here on my laptop, which is Xbox, but you can also add Xbox to other stuff. I did set up the emulator for this, just like I did on LaunchBox. I set up the emulator for Xbox on LaunchBox. Let's see. Now, I'm pretty sure GameCube will not play on my system. In fact, I know it won't. On this old Dell Latitude E6500. But let's go to something I know plays. Look at this. Missing BIOS. You are going to run across this all the time if you are using, and I can try to launch it, but you're going to run across missing BIOS, missing files, missing this, missing that on Retrobat. So no, the person that said Retrobat is better, absolutely not. LaunchBox, I did not have to screw with hardly anything. Now, even if this starts without the BIOS, who knows how it's going to play. Now, see, it is trying to start, but look at the picture. It's a smaller picture. It has these damn bezels on the side. I absolutely hate this. Now, my audio is all the way up. Let's see if I can get this to have some sound to it. Alright, here's some sound. It sounds good. It's a little bit slow as far as compared to LaunchBox. Okay, as far as exiting, look at that. Did you hear it? I can pause that. I'm just wanting this done quickly. Now, did you hear that, KO? It's a little bit slow. Now look at this. I'm hitting the start. I am hitting this. F, B, A, everything. Now on the buttons over here, B is hit, Y up here is kick. Now look at this. It will not exit. So, to exit this, I'm going to hit my Windows key. And I'm going to close that. And that should close that. You hear it? The sound is not the best. Look. This is not the best. Let's quit this. Now I'm going to go back into it. Now you saw on LaunchBox, it actually would load GameCube on my computers, my laptops. It did not do a very good job of it, but it did do it. Actually, before I do this, I'm going to go into, you know what, I'll show you afterwards. It's pretty easy to add files to Retrobat, but it's not easy to use. You have to download the emulators and set up the emulators. It's not easy. Now we know GameCube will load and barely run. Because I've shown that. Look at that. Another error. Dolphin EXE application error. If you think, okay, I clicked it already. It's doing it again. If you think this is easier than, look at that, it's not wanting to close. Close window, nothing. I have to Control Alt delete this or just jerk it out. If it will even load. Control Alt delete, and of course it's not. It definitely 100% froze. So it still can't read. I will have to reboot this whole system, most likely. There we go. I had to pull that out. Now let's see if this is still running. Yep. So once again, excuse me, Retrobat is not a program that's easy to use. The person that said it's easy to use is actually full of crap. Update. Yeah, see, you have to update this shit. You have to download these emulators. Once you start it, you have to download that stuff. It is not easy to use. Now, this is the one I just had in. Let's go back to her computer. Now, let's see if her computer will pick anything up. This should have the emulator on it. This is the one I was just using. And look at that. Now it's asking to scan. I have never had issues with LaunchBox with it doing something like this. Now let's open this and see if I can get it to run on her computer. Now the emulators are on this. I want you to see some emulators. Let's go for, I believe, Dolphin. Right here is Dolphin. It's installed. So since I know this has the emulators on it, this actually will run on my laptop. My laptop is 100% updated. Now some of this, her computer should be updated, but you will get that API error while creating this, and that's an issue. And look at that. it's shut down. Let's minimize this and see what it does. Okay. Now this, for some reason, put that behind the other picture. Let's go to GameCube. Now, if you've watched my other stuff on LaunchBox, you know GameCube will 100% play on her system here. Now, I do have, right there, Dolphin EXE Air. Do not tell me that this is easier to use compared to LaunchBox. Application unable to start correctly. So, I'm sorry. No. Let's go see if anything else. Yeah. Will actually run. Now, to get these to configure, let's go here because I know this will run. This runs on my laptop. Uh-oh, what do you know? And the thing is, I did not install any missing BIOS for this to run over there. Yes, I'm going to launch it. So you have to add BIOS, you have to add the emulators, you have to set it up correctly. It is not worth going through all this hassle. On LaunchBox, what do you know? This will load here, but it's still looking for BIOS. You still have errors. No, I'm not going through this crap for Retrobat. It's not worth it. You know what? I want to try something. Let's close that. Let's see what happens with this one. Now, I have not tried failed to open boot ROM, BIOS, please check machine settings. I'm like, okay, are you kidding? Guest has not initialized the display yet. Right here's the emulator. You have to go in like any other emulator and set this crap up manually. And I do not want to do that, but I'm going to show you how to set this up if you want to. Alright, when you get your emulators, if you're going to make a Retrobat on flash drive, you are going to have issues. Missing BIOS, the emulator set up wrong. Now you can see I have 14.8 gigabyte flash drive, which is a 16 gig. 11.4 gigs is free. Now, if you want to install Retrobat onto a flash drive, you have to create a folder on that flash drive that says Retrobat. You have to do that. Yeah, open that up once you install it. Now, here's the BIOS. Now, you can put BIOS in here. Here's PS3 BIOS that I've put in here. Let's see, PS2. You have to have BIOS and textures. There's nothing here. So not only do you have to find the right BIOS, you have to find a place to put them. The right place to put them. I mean, there's absolutely nothing. And trying to install BIOS onto this is a pain in the butt. You have to get it named right. You have to get it in the right folder. If it doesn't have a folder, you have to create a folder and pray that you get it named correctly for the emulator. No, it's a hassle. Now, let's go to emulators. Here's all your emulators. Okay? We're going to go for PC access to PlayStation 2. Right here's your emulators. These are the exact same emulators you set up on your computer when you want to run an emulator. It's the exact same. It's set up the same. But if something's not right, you have to go to emulators, start it from here. Look at that. It's not going to start correctly. It's missing application files. Right there. So no, Retrobat is not better. Now, I wanted to walk you through this. If you want to try Retrobat, fine. On Windows 7, great. You can do it. You can see over here, stuff would start. Unlike over here, stuff would not start. I did not install the files needed on her computer. Now, I do have BIOS. I do have all kinds of stuff that I could set up and install. But it's a pain in the ass. Seriously, it is. You know what? I'm not going to continue this. I'm going to find a version of LaunchBox. I will have to format these drives. I am not keeping Retrobat. But if you're interested in Retrobat, for Windows 7, yes, it is possible. But you are going to get a lot of errors. You will have to fix them. First of all, you will need the API MS Win Eventing Classic Provider DIL. It'll tell you. If you want PS3, you will need the firmware update for the PS3. You get that from Sony. The Visual C runtimes you will have to have. If you have Vulkan graphics card, you will need the Vulkan. If you have NVIDIA, you need your NVIDIA graphics drivers, stuff like that. You have to have DirectX. If you put your API or copy your API MS Eventing Classic Provider DIL into your Windows System folder and it does not work, you are missing stuff. Let me see if I can find. I've been messing around with these flash drives for a while here. Let me find. Here's LaunchBox. Okay. This had GameCube on it. Now, my laptop is way too old to be playing GameCube. Period. I have not installed any BIOS or anything else in LaunchBox. And it will 100% freeze my laptop. Because my laptop doesn't have the right stuff to run it. But no, Retrobat is a pain in the ass. You have to download the emulators, install them, set them up. I'm sorry, it's not worth the hassle. And it's really hot in here because I have the dryer going. But no, it's not worth it. It is not. If you want to make a flash drive like this, to take games with you, LaunchBox is your best option because it does play right out of the box on Windows 7. And I had Spyro, so now it does take forever to do anything over here. Now GameCube, running GameCube on this laptop is just dumb. It's not going to do it. The hardware is not strong enough to run GameCube on this laptop. This is a Core 2 Duo, 4 gigs of RAM. It's not strong enough. It's not fast enough. It has a NVIDIA mobile process, not processor, but graphics. NVIDIA 7 something, blah, blah, blah. tell me, the person that said, see, OpenGL driver does not support this. This performance device will be terrible, blah, blah, blah. I don't have an OpenGL driver on this because this doesn't support that OpenGL. But look. Now it is going to slow down like crazy and then freeze. Let's see, start new game. Except I believe is B. Yes, I am being mixed up on this.
In the year of the dragon.
Holy crap.
The world beyond the realms. I, like all the others, awaited the birth of the dragon of whom the prophecies foretold.
Look at that. I guarantee when the gameplay starts, it's going to really skip.
I should have hidden the eggs long before, but I thought we were ready. I thought they were safe.
Video plays just fine. You see a little skipping in it. But look at how old my computer is. My Dell Latitude E6500 is not meant for this. Alright, I've got to turn the volume down because if I don't, I will get a copyright or my video will be blocked. If you want to try Retrobat, fine. But understand one thing. The files I showed you, the API and the Visual CC files, the Visual C files, I've already installed on my laptop. They are not installed over there. So, RetroArch will play over here, but not well. While LaunchBox is playing GameCube games on my old Dell Latitude E6500, when I absolutely not, I would not play GameCube on here. Once the game starts, because the graphics driver is not supported, it will probably crash, it will skip, the sound will be, you can see stuff there. But it is playing it. Will it play at a decent speed? Absolutely not. And if it does play at a somewhat decent speed, it will freeze. But the person said LaunchBox, no. Not LaunchBox, but Retrobat, absolutely not, dude. Retrobat's hard to set up. Let me turn that down. Retrobat is hard to set up. You have to download and set up the emulators. But, you know, you can install the games on the world on Retrobat and with the ROMs folder, but it will not play unless you download and configure the emulators. Now you can see it's starting to skip a little bit. My computer's probably running at 100%. My laptop here. It is not made to run something like this. Now the Core i3 that I have on the HP ProBook will definitely run this. I actually should have picked something that would load faster, because I need this to load. But Retrobat is not the way to go if you have an older computer, if you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know how to set up the emulators, because you will need to set them up. And here we go. And there's a good chance this will freeze my laptop. Right here, trying to escape it, trying to exit. There we go, it did exit. So no, GameCube will not play on something this old. That's not the point. The point is, it plays. So, if you're going, what's better, LaunchBox or Retrobat? 100% LaunchBox. It's easier to import games. It's easier to use. I'm sorry, it just is. But if you want to try Retrobat and you have Windows 7, you will need certain things. Let me go over these again, because you will need these for playing Retrobat. You need the API MS Win Eventing Classic Provider L110DIL, and you will need to copy this into your Windows System folder. Not System 32, not SysWow folder, but Windows System. If you're wanting like PS3 or stuff like that, you need the update files. You need the BIOS files for most things to run, at least run correctly. You will need Visual CC runtimes or Visual C runtimes. All in one. This is the May 2023. This is all installed on my laptop. It runs fine. Yeah, but to get Retrobat working at all, you will need this stuff on Windows 7 and possibly other versions of Windows. Once again, Retrobat's minimum system requirements you will need for the GameCube games, PS2, PS3, DirectX 3D 11.1. My hardware does not support that. Windows 7 does not support that as far as I know. Or you will need OpenGL 4.4 or Vulkan. You will need the VC++ redistributable, both 32 and 64 bits on their site, Retrobat. They will give you a link to this. But the DirectX you may have a problem with, because the link they give you to DirectX is nothing but a online downloader link. So you may be able to get that or maybe not. I apologize, it's another long video. But you see, LaunchBox works on my laptop. The only BIOS so far LaunchBox has asked for was for the PlayStation 1, and that is the 5501 BIOS. .5501 has been BIOS file. Now you may have to add your own. You're definitely going to have your own BIOS if you want Retrobat to run correctly. But stuff that works on my laptop with LaunchBox does not work correctly with Retrobat. You are more than welcome to use whatever you want to use. I don't care. Just remember and know this. While some games may work perfectly, some games may not work at all with any emulator. Your hardware has a lot to do with what you can run. If you have the BIOS, if you don't have the BIOS, it can determine what runs and what doesn't. Don't have an old laptop or old desktop and expect to run Xbox games. It's not going to work. Do not expect to run PS2 in some cases. Your hardware has a lot to do with it. But once again, Retrobat is not that great. It's a pain in the ass to use. It's a pain in the ass to set up. Sometimes you have to configure those emulators separately. Same as the emulators I have here. I have to go in and configure each one of these. And the difference between these and Retrobat is I have to find the files on my laptop for these. When you install Retrobat in your emulators, you have to install the files or ROMs, game ROMs, if you want them on your flash drive. Then you have to find the path and send it back to your flash drive into the ROMs folder, into like N64 or Genesis or whatever, PSP, things like that. You have to make sure that path is right. And unfortunately with Retrobat, if you take that to somebody else's computer and they don't have everything installed that you had to install to get it working, it's not going to work correctly. As you could tell over there, it wasn't working correctly. Stuff over here that should work. GameCube should work. It's not. So no, Retrobat is not better than LaunchBox. You are more than welcome to try it and use it. If you have Windows 7, you now know the steps and what you need to find to get it to run on Windows 7. Will it do it? Yes. Do not forget you have to put your BIOS in there. You have to download the emulators themselves, because if not, it will not work. Alright, that's it. I'm fixing to go. Everyone have a good day. Sorry for the long video. Bye.